Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 684. My name is Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is February the 4th, 2024, 2025. Oof.
2025.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, and Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns. Did I introduce myself twice?
You did.
Hmm, sorry, it's that kind of day.
It's
Um,
fine.
uh, yeah. If you haven't guessed it by now, we do minimal editing, and by that I mean I cut off anything in the beginning before we say hello, and then any like dead space at the end after we say goodbye. So you get what you get. This is real. um,
What was the real world slogan? Like when people stop being nice,
Being
start
polite
yeah,
and start
start
being
getting
real.
real. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep, I am a Gen X slash elder millennial and definitely grew up with the real world. So, um, for any young people that might be watching our show, I don't think young people do watch our show, but it was one of the first reality TV shows. Not the
Yep.
first, but yeah. So it's February. It's hella cold in Wisconsin. What about Mississippi?
It was like 65 here today.
Oof,
70. Yeah.
the dream.
Yeah, everyone at my work has sinus infections though, because we went from like 8 to 70 within like a 3 day period, it felt
Yeah.
like. So last night my teeth were really hurting because of sinus pressure.
Mm,
Um, and that was not fun, but I
yeah,
took
that
some
sucks.
meds and I'm feeling a little better today. But yeah.
Um, well, what are you knitting? What are you working on?
I am not working on anything. Like,
Okay.
I have been super busy with life. I taught for a guild in Connecticut, a spinning guild this past weekend. Um, so what I got done was a smidge of work on my sock. So I think I had just cast on the toe
Mm-hmm.
and was still doing toe increases. So I am officially through the first repeat because the green is right there. Um, I have quite a few more repeats to go. Let me find the rest of the sock. So I have one, two, three, 4.5 repeats to go. 3.5 repeats to go. I had four total and a half. So yeah. These are woolens and nosh, and the colorway is I remembered to grab the tag when I was up earlier. Cardo pile. I get her superwash targy fingering and really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I've got some of her yarn in solids coming soon for some sweater projects that I'm excited about. That's living in my fat squirrel bag, and it is knit on size zeros. So while I'm dreaming of knitting other things, it really hasn't happened, which is okay.
The colorway name, Artiphile. I looked it up because I was like, what does that mean? It's a person who enjoys collecting maps.
Yeah,
So,
very cool. It definitely,
um,
like, those little lines remind me of different lines on maps. I can
mm-hmm.
see that. So yeah, that is all that I've worked on. My poor cowl sat here and did not get worked on, and my sweater also did not get worked on.
Oh,
But
well,
maybe someday.
that's the way it goes sometimes.
All of January, apparently.
It's not like you were busy doing anything else.
I mean,
So,
just life in general. But what have you been working on, friend?
I've been working on a couple of things. I've got like 10 stitches until the end of this row. So the first thing that I'll show you is a sweater. Well, it's a cropped sweater, so I don't know if I would call it a sweater, but
It's
like
a
a
sweater.
cropped
It's just cropped.
um It is called the Mount Pleasant Tea by Pip and Pen, or I think it's just called Mount Pleasant, by Pip and Pen. Let's see. Here we go.
I'm looking
Oh,
around.
Mount
I
Pleasant
bought the
Ink.
yarn for that several years ago, and it's sitting in a bag. I bought mine from Leading Men. What are you using?
So I am using, um, oh, I didn't realize at the end I'll just have to do a teeny little bit of sleeve. That's good. So I am using some Republica Unicornia in the BFL sock in the Ramble On colorway. So it's this beautiful coppery color. And I'm alternating skeins. So skeins, whatever. I wasn't during the lace, but after the lace, I did. So that's why the balls are
How
like
many
even
total
though
skins do you have?
three. I don't know
Okay.
that I'll need all three, but I always buy a little bit extra. Sometimes that, in this case, it ended up being like 400 extra yards because that's just what size the skeins were in. So I'm working on the back. I've divided for the sleeves, which feels really weird because it's really short to have divided for the sleeves. Um, Coming from a person who has been fat most of her life, like cropped things are still very new. So I'm working on it. But so I finished the front, and like this is what it looks like.
Did you have bust darts or anything?
No, there is a little bit of shaping in there, but no, not really.
Okay.
So I am very comfortable with the fact that if this doesn't fit me, I will give it away to somebody that does it fit. So it'll go in the try it on room at SSK. So if it doesn't fit me, maybe it'll fit somebody that goes to SSK and they'll love it. So um yeah, so I'm working on the back now. It's just stockinette for 8 inches, and there's a little bit of shaping up by the neck. If you can hear the dogs, I'm sorry. They're it sounds like they're being hurt. They're just playing with each other. Like they're just the younger one has figured out that if she cries, like her brother gets in trouble. It's like a kid, like
Yeah.
truly impressive. So she helps. Sometimes he's not even near her. But yeah, so that's the first thing that I've been working on. The second thing, which I forgot to show last week because it was in the other room, is I started the eye cushion by Calf Facet. This was in the Painterly version of Modern Daily Knitting's Field Guide, and this is what it looks like.
Cute.
So it's intarsia and it's triangles that are alternated out of Rowan felted tweed. Um, it's kind of a disaster. Like you have to just accept that. I was going to, so I did find what's called shaped intarsia, which is where you do the, like, if you want perfect straight lines rather than like these stair steps, you can do like decreases and increases on either side of where the color changes to make it more like perfectly straight. And I decided that there's enough going on with this that I don't care. Like it's going to be a pillow, not, something that's going in the Louvre. So I'm okay with it not being absolutely perfect. Um, and mostly this is believe it or not, is actually a relatively enjoyable knit because it's just stockinette. You're just
Changing colors.
changing colors frequently. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, this is by Calf Facet, and these are Rowan Felted Tweed colors. I might do some more of Calf Facet's projects from that same
Serious.
booklet.
Yeah.
Um, he also has a bunch of like shawls and sweaters and stuff. So
He's got
I
some
have
cool ones.
enough yarn to do at least a sweater after the pillow. So, because you need a little bit of a lot of colors.
Yeah.
And I did some math while casting on to try to estimate how many of each color I needed for my first like little butterflies down here.
Uh-huh.
And based on the math, I guessed 8 yards, which was a little like had a little bit of a cushion. and it ended up being about 7. So I wasn't far off. I was actually pretty proud of myself for
You're
that
very
math.
good.
Um,
You could
but
do a
yeah,
Desperate Housewives cardigan too. Have you seen that pattern by Melanie Burke?
I feel like you just, oh yeah, that's the like the long striped one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's sport weight, but it's which I feel like the Roenfelted tweed
Is
kind of
DK.
is. Okay, it's
But I
similar.
mean that's pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
And it's like 8 different colors and just a
yeah.
smidge of each. So like 300 yards of each. So that might be a fun way to use up some leftovers too.
Yeah, I'll have to pattern hunt once I get there. Um, but I'm also working on some English paper piecing.
A
So
rooster.
this is where I messed up the paper. That's not part of the design. But yeah, so this is by Violet Craft, and you can buy just the pattern, or I think the pattern with the templates, like each one of these shapes, or the kit with the fabrics and everything. So I chose to do the fabrics and everything since this is the first time I'm really trying a pattern. And at first I really hated it. Like really hated it. And then I changed the way that I was joining the shapes to a whip stitch, and it's not quite as precise. Like if you really look, you can see the stitches if you're like really in there, but it's going to be part of a wall hanging. Nobody's going to be like really in there. If they are, I can just flick them right on the nose.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so it's going well. Like that's his face.
Oh, that's large. That's larger than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So there, this is I think 19 little pieces, 18 little pieces. Um, and it's they're all different weird little shapes, and that's where like having to join them in different places is kind of a pain. But once I changed the way the stitch that I was using to join them, it got better. So yeah, I don't know that this is something I'll do all the time,
Is
but
his
I would.
beak glittery?
Yes. So some of
Oh,
the fabrics have a metallic uh, component to them.
nice.
So yeah, his beak, I think, is the only. Maybe his feet are glittery too. I can't remember. So that's color number 4. Nope, that might be it. That might be the only part of it that's glittery. Um, but yeah, I do like that. Like each one of the pieces, when they're joined, they're all of the numbers are like going the same direction and everything.
Oh, that's
So that
nice. Yeah.
that helps a lot to know how does this fit. Um, so yeah, this the link for this and everything else that we talk about is on our show notes, which is on our website, TheKnitGirls with 3Ls.com. So yeah, I've been picking away at this when I can. But I don't have anything finished to show this week.
I have
Like,
a teeny tiny gnome,
yay!
which I can't, I really need to practice dupe stitching and I don't know what it is. I've never been able to get a French knot to work right, but it's my teeny tiny gnome. He's teeny and he's tiny. He was leftovers from when I was teaching socks. I just like wind off the bobbin when I'm done teaching socks, and it's just like little samples. So he was just out of some itty bitty samples that I made of opposing ply yarn. And yeah, he's
Is
teeny
this
tiny.
this is the Sarah Shira?
It is. It's her it's her basic gnome pattern. Um and he's a niblet, like GNIBBLET. Um so he's teeny tiny, and I'm doing her Year of the Gnomes. So today she released a pattern, the one that Sarah did,
Mm-hmm.
but on a
Yep.
smaller scale.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna knit that. It's like 6 inches tall. That is this month's plan, but I might end up with another teeny tiny gnome. It was knit on size 0 needles, and I think I used 10 whole yards. But yeah, that's my attempt at dupe stitch for the embroidery duplicate stitch for his beard. And
Yeah.
I held it double, but it still did not really show up real well. But also it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a loose knit, but like I don't knit super tight. So even though it was, fingering weight on size zeros, it's still pretty loose. So the dupe
He's
stitch
very cute.
pulled right through. Yeah, he's very chill. He's living in his chill era beside my computer. Um, so that is the only thing that I have finished for the month of
I mean,
January.
it's okay. Some weeks
Yeah,
are like that.
well, some months are like that. I have a feeling it's gonna be. I was looking back at our show notes. The only other thing I knit in the whole entire month of January was a hat. So, um, yeah, I just haven't had a ton of time for knitting. I've been very busy with work stuff. Boo work, but yay money because I had to replace a freezer, which is coming on Saturday. Which was the other thing. Last night I was like, I'm going to find some knitting time, and then I ended up cleaning the garage for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So that I would have space to get things in and out. That's what happens. After SSK, everything kind of got dumped in there
Yeah.
and it wasn't put away properly this year. And
Because it was just me and you, and there was no Gwen to put it
Jude
away.
was here though too, I feel like.
Yeah, he was. He was here for like a day after, there for like a day.
But he was, but I went directly into work the next day.
Yeah.
Um so that was the main thing is I directly went into work, so there was no usually like the next day when I've recovered a little bit, I would like straighten stuff out, but I immediately went into work the next day and haven't stopped really since. I've been traveling like
You've
on the
been a
time that
very
I had
busy
off.
bee.
So, yeah, and I'm hopefully we're traveling to Scotland in March. That's my spring break. Um, so yeah, I won't have any time off till June after that. Really, I have one day for Easter, which I'm hoping to get Pearl groomed on. That's the current plan because her hair is getting super long.
Pantaloons.
Her pantaloons are quite intense, and it's 70 here, so she is quite warm.
I think
Um,
Intense Pantaloons should be the title of the
there you
episode.
go. But yeah, that is it for me. You have some spinning though, because I watched you spin the other night.
I did spin, but you haven't shown yours. Are you gathering it or?
Well, I was switching bobbins, but I can show it. So the thing that I have in progress right now is a very large bobbin. This
Yeah, it is.
is Hello Yarn. This is a starling, so I'm thinking it's around 8 ounces, but this is around half of a Hello Yarn patchwork kit. I am spinning this, and I talked to Emily about it and kind of had like a change of plan. So in the Care issue of Ply Magazine, there's a sweater by Sheena Line Designs, Sheena Cohen, that looks like this. And I'm spinning for this. I'm not doing sleeves. I'm
Yeah.
making it more short sleeve, and I'm not going to probably do that well. I'll probably just do garter edging there
Okay.
or an I-cord edging around garter. Because I don't know, welts aren't my jam. But yeah, so I'm spinning for this sweater. I am spinning it calls for a DK weight and it calls for in my size around 1800 yards. So I'm doing one ply of what's going to be a CVM like light, I'm looking at it, light grayish brown, like a moret, and then 2 plies of the Hello Yarn patchwork to make it stretch a little bit further. I do have a backup patchwork kit that also has like blues
Cool.
and browns.
A lot more
Um,
purples in it.
yeah, it's got a lot more purples and it's a little bit brighter, but um I'm gonna kind of like I'm gonna rewind this bobbin and use a yardage counter and
Hmm.
see how much yardage is on there. Um and kind of go from there. But I'm gonna finish the second bobbin first. So that is what I'm working on in here. And then I plied over the weekend, but I have not wound off yet. So this is my Knit Spin Farm bat vent. The
Okay.
tail end of that, it was just a 2-ply spun woolen on my matchless and then plied on the Woolly-Ann. It is a 2-ply. I just spun them like random order, like just opened them, spun them, and then did days 1 through 12 on one bobbin, 12 through or 13 through 24 on another, and then just plied them together. So that is 6 ounces. And then I'm trying to use up some older stash, and this is so old, it like I've lost the tag for it. It was Inglenook. It was a Hobbit colorway. I think it was like Misty Mountains, something like that. So I spun this as a 2-ply, oof, like over a month ago and just got around to applying it. But it's very glittery. It's very sparkly.
Yeah, it is.
Um, so yeah, that's 4 ounces. I'm behind where I would like to be in my spinning, but because I'm doing 100 days with Jillian Marino, and I was really hoping to reach a certain number by the end. I'm also behind. I've bought more than I should have. So the rule was um
Now, let's pause. This is Laura's rule.
yeah.
Okay.
So part of Jillian Marino's thing is you create your loopholes for purchasing. And my loophole for purchasing was for every pound I spin, I get to buy 4 ounces. Not including book fiber, because that's its own separate thing. Because I can't just buy like 4 ounces for book. I also have to buy braid to like that they can photograph separately.
Hmm.
So it's like 8 ounces. Anyway. Um, so at Oxford, I was I had 2 braids that I could purchase at Oxford and I bought 5. So I've got some spinning. I've got 3 pounds to spin before I can buy again. 3 plus pounds. The other part of that is if I spin fleece, for every pound of fleece I spin, then I can um buy 8 ounces. So maybe I'll spin some fleece. We'll see. I'm gonna get through this first. At least the pound of Hello Yarn. I'm at right around 7 pounds right now. Um, so I did not. I got 4 pounds done in December, but only like barely 3 in January. So not great.
Barely 3 pounds. You're such a slacker.
I am for this, but I was spinning a lot of like layered ply sock yarn.
And
Um,
teaching classes.
that's true. I taught some classes.
And spinning
So
samples for those classes took a not insignificant amount of time.
well, I counted those samples for those classes
Okay.
towards my goal. But yeah, so we're getting there. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there. But now I get to pick out a new color, which I think I'm going to go with this one. This one seems pretty,
It
although
is
it has
pretty.
yellow in it.
It's a very Adrian of Hello Yarn color.
Yep. She does like that blue.
Mm-hmm. And scummy greens and that particular shade of purple that was in the other bag that you were showing.
Yep. So that is it for me for spinning. Yes. Yes.
I have some, so I have 8 ounces of a color that I got from Hip Strings at SSK. That's Nick and Jill Duarte, and it's called Morning Dove, and it's Targi, I think Superwash. Yes, Superwash Targi
Yep, she's got
foamed
that up
top,
right now, I think.
and the Morning Dove colorway. So I got 8 ounces, two braids, and I finished one, which it doesn't look super exciting, but I'm excited about it. This is my Daedalus Starling, which, when it comes to electric wheels, is my choice because it's near silent. I love it. Um, what was I saying? Oh, so I just spun it end to end. I split the braid itself in half, length or not lengthwise, but just like I folded it, pulled it out and
Float
folded it in
style.
half. And just so that I could know when I was at 2 ounces in case I was deciding to like do a different thing with plying or whatever. But I didn't. I just um, spun it straight through. I didn't strip it or anything like that. So that's what I'll do with this one as well. Um, I might spin after we record um, tonight while I watch TV or whatever. I might spin. I haven't decided. Um, because I'm not knitting anything that like I feel an intense need to finish. So maybe I'll spin instead. I really want to knit that gnome though. I'm not typically a gnome girl, but the one that you mentioned that just came out,
Self-striping one. Yeah.
Sarah, our friend Sarah, was knitting a larger version, I think, of it when
Yep.
we were together in October, and I just really like it. Sits nicely, and it's got the big long hat, and it's just very cute. So I really want to knit that. So maybe I'll cast that on at some point this week. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I have been spinning. It's not the most exciting thing. I'm still re-listening to the Innkeeper series. Um, and I haven't read like uh, uh like from a book, an like ebook or physical book in a week. So I have absolutely nothing to talk about book wise. What about you?
I am still reading Of All Tribes by Joseph Bruchac. That's a middle grade nonfiction about Alcatraz Island. I found some reading time yesterday. I read during my lunch yesterday at work. So that was good. I'm still working my way through that. And then I am listening to The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. And the main character is a librarian.
Hmm,
So enjoying it so far. I've read some of her middle grade and YA stuff before, so I was interested to see her adult stuff. It's an adult fantasy so far. Um, yeah, so that has been what I have been reading. I finally made time to watch a Penguins game this week. I did not catch any of their road trip while they were out of town for the most part. So finally made time to watch some Pens. And they're actually playing tonight, and so I might turn that on when I get home from dinner. So, yep,
okay. Um, Anything else that you wanted to talk about? We pulled from the wait list for SSK.
we did.
We'll probably continue to pull uh, as the payment dates come and go, and people have to drop for whatever those reasons are.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think we pulled 10 or 11 people from the wait list. And of those, we had a few that were like, I can't make it right away, which is super helpful when they let us know right away, and then we can just pull somebody again. So,
Cool.
um,
And we're getting contracts back from vendors.
yes, we expect that we'll have all of the contracts by the end of February. So, we tend not to announce who our vendors are until we have a contract. Just that's just one of my weird particulars that Laura begrudgingly puts up with because I don't know, because I don't know, kind of a pain in the butt,
I
and
don't think that's true.
I don't know, because it's easier to just go with it sometimes. Yeah, I don't really have anything else that I can think of.
I had some nice class. Like I, of course, have already talked about Maryland Sheep and Wool and how lovely that was. And I taught for a Connecticut spinning guild, which was super fun this past weekend. So yeah, socks 101. I do like teaching about spinning for socks.
You do. And
So,
you sort of briefly mentioned this in passing earlier when you were talking about spinning, but you mentioned a book. But
yep.
I don't think we've talked about that on the podcast.
Probably not. So I am writing a book on spinning for Ply Magazine. It's book
Yeah.
division. So yeah,
Laura's going to be a published book author.
if
It's
I
going
can
to
get
be,
my stuff together, yeah.
so that's
Mhm.
amazing. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and I will be the first to sign up to order it. So
Well, thanks, dude.
I'm very, very excited for you because this is a topic you are very passionate about and you're very well educated about. So I'm thrilled that you'll be sharing your knowledge with the
Yep.
world.
And I have an article about sock spinning coming out in March in the Q issue of Ply Magazine. So, and a pattern.
Cool.
It's been a long time since I've written a
Oh,
pattern.
that's right.
So there'll be a pattern that comes out too. So that's exciting as well.
That
I need to
is.
actually spin more yarn because I let JC keep the socks. Um, and now I'm regretting that decision, but I need to spin more fiber and make another pair for me. And I also want to do a commercial pair. I think there's definitely some yarn in my stash that will lend itself to that.
I will knit a commercial pair.
Yeah,
So, because I
it'll be
like that
fun.
pattern.
It's a fun one. All right, friends. I think that's it for this week. We will let y'all go, but
Yep.
have a good one. Stay
We will
warm,
talk
stay
to you next
safe.
week. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.